Hi, and welcome to Failing Up, a limited series from the shallow end about our collecting failures, how they haunt us, and help make us better collectors. It's about the moments we need, even if we don't necessarily want them. I'm Dave Schwartz, and I wanted to do this series to help us all feel a little less alone in this hobby. We've all made mistakes, no one is perfect, and maybe we can actually learn from one another. Today's guest is Chad, at Black Hat Cards on IG. Have you ever really wanted to collect a player, so you bought a card online? It arrives, you look at it, and it doesn't really do it for you. That's what happened to Chad. Then it happened again. And again. And, well, you get the picture. Today we have Chad, who is Black Hat Cards, back on the show. Chad, it is great to see you. Please tell us about a mistake from your collecting past.
Well, first of all, Dave, thanks for having me back. I have a story to tell. It's some ups and downs. It's a whole process, really. There's some wins along the way and some losses. But I want to tell the story about some of the failures I've had as I collect Tyreek Hill. So I feel like the story has a happy ending, but definitely some ups and downs along the way. So I had to look back really at my purchase history online, search through my eBay, and really see where it first started. I've had Tyreek Hill on my top 25 villain list as long as I've collected bad guys. And the first Tyreek Hill card that I purchased was 2022 Panini Mosaic Genesis, probably for $35, $40, somewhere in that range, in a Fins uniform. I was excited to have the card, really just kind of dipping my toes into the water, but that wasn't the card for me. I maybe had that as a representation of Tyreek Hill in my collection for I'd say six to 8 months, and I wanted to get something bigger. He's a big part of my collection, and I was ready to try to level up. So I do a couple of in-person shows, usually the Minnesota show every year. I ended up selling that card. I'm sure it was for a slight loss. I don't know if there's anybody better at losing money on cards than me. I certainly feel like I can be one of the best. And I had the goal of this Minnesota show a couple of years ago. I wanted to add a big Tyreek. I really didn't see anything at the show. I searched. I wound up with a very cool Anthony Edwards card, but no Tyreek. So a few months later, and it was a really impulsive buy. Sunday night, I think it was still PWCC at the time, scrolling through everything. And I saw Tyreek Hill 1 of 1 on auction. And it must have been before extended bidding, because this was a little while ago. It was an immaculate Panini Honors 1 of 1. And I hadn't dipped my toes into a ton of immaculate stuff. I knew what honors was, and I for the price I thought I would try it. So I got that card, and it came a couple weeks later. I'm looking at it, and I knew right away that this was not the card for me. I don't normally like go through my Instagram posts and delete or archive cards after they're no longer in my collection, because I think that's part of the journey. But that was one card. It just wasn't right. It was an impulsive buy, and it soured me. So I moved it in. I'm trying to remember how I got rid of it, but I think it was in a consolidation, and it ended up going back to Fanatics Weekly at the time. I probably had the card for 3 or 4 months by the time it finally went back to auction in that consolidation. I paid around $700 or $800 for the card, and what it sold for, and in what I got back, I think was probably close to $300. So percentage and time wise, I think I definitely think that was one of my bigger failures. And so I'm not now. I'm without a Tyreek Hill in my collection again, and I'm gonna find the card. Fast forward, I don't know, maybe 6 more months. It was probably close to July, August timeframe last year. Was getting excited for fantasy football. Really getting pumped up and preparing for this interview. Looking through my purchases over the last several August, I guess I really need to pump the brakes because I get really excited for fantasy football and spend too much money. I think financially I'd be better off waiting till December or January, but that's part of the fun too. I saw 2016 Select Gold out of 10 Tyreek Hill. It's a really special card. I think that 2016 Gold is beautiful, and I ended up buying it off a story sale. I got it in hand. It was a pretty fair price, and I really liked the card. I love the card. I no longer have it, but I had the card that could have been one of my forever Tyreek Hill cards. Shortly after that, the Tyreek Hill rookie Black Finite showed up in the Fanatics Premier auction, and I'm like, wow, what a cool card. That could definitely anchor my PC. I had been in discussions with a bunch of my collector friends. I think it was right before the finites in football really started popping off and going for crazy amounts. And I'm like, I think I can make a run at this card. I want to make a run at this card. So I talked to Nick at the Wharf Sports Cards, asked him if he was bidding on it for anybody. He wasn't. And I'm like, well, would you for me? And he's like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's take a run at it. And based on some of the conversations that I had some of the research I did, I really thought that Tyreek Hill was going to sell for significantly less than it ended up going for. Maybe a week to go, there was a Tyreek Hill Gold Prism BGS 10 that sold on Fanatics Weekly for a substantial amount, like double any previous Tyreek out of 10 comp. And I kind of knew at that point that, hey, I'm not going to end up with this card, but maybe there's a chance. One of the thinking back on that process, the whole couple of weeks there, it was a very exciting time. I wasn't going to pay all cash for that card, so I did go through my collection, and I had stacked up quite a few cards that I knew I would have to move to fund that card, and it made me a little bit ill. I wasn't sure I had the stomach for it. I was blown out of the water on that card. I didn't get it, and I was a little bit sad, but it was a right decision for me financially. So I'm okay. I have the 2016 Select Gold. It's a shiny card. I love it. It fits perfectly, I think, within my PC. But missing out on that finite really left a little bit of a void, and Tyreek for multiple reasons, including my fantasy football fandom, really belongs in my collection. So towards the end of 2024, I started putting together top 10 PC want ads for 2025. The 2016 Select Black Prism was on the top of my list. It has Tyreek with jersey number 10 in the Chiefs uniform in-game photo. I knew where it was, and I was going to try to acquire that at some time throughout the year. Fast forward into maybe February, had tried to make a couple of deals, not directly with that seller, but trying to make something work. Couldn't land the card. The owner at the time didn't follow me on Instagram. I had reached out to him, messaged him a couple of times, and really couldn't get through to him. I found out through a mutual friend that he was interested in trying to move the card. He was a Dolphins fan. I think he had soured on Tyreek's 6 touchdowns last year and just kind of how that season went. So he wanted to move the Tyreek, and I ended up reaching out to Mark at Fund Your Cards, who I'd used a few times in the past. And I said, hey, this is what I think this guy wants for this card. I haven't been able to get a hold of him directly. Would you be interested in making this deal for me? Yep, of course. Give me a few days. We'll see what we can make happen. I was a little bit under where he wanted to be. The owner wasn't budging, and I'm like, well, I don't want to lose this card over $500. I'm gonna come up and and buy the Tyreek. So I wound up with it. It was a huge ad. It took probably close to 6 weeks for the whole consolidation to go through and the Tyreek to land in my hand. But now I have it. It's a card I love. I moved the gold out of 10 in the consolidation, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, because I think that would have been an incredible pairing. I think I lost a little bit of money on the gold. There had been some, what I thought was a low comp on a PSA 10, and mine was a PSA 9 that sold probably 6 weeks after that 10 sale. So I got kicked a little bit on that. I wish I would have kept the card, but I think my story of losing money on multiple Tyreek Hill cards has a happy ending.
So here's where my mind's going. So first you get the Mosaic, and that wasn't the right card, so you get rid of that. Then you get the Immaculate something, that wasn't the right card, and you get rid of that. Then you get the Select Gold, and this is when Select was Select, right? 2016. This wasn't retail Select. This was,
right,
have to order it Select, the good stuff, right? Then you go for a different one that doesn't work out, the Black Prism, and then finally come to the 16 Select, right? Same year, but the black.
Correct.
But in order to get it, you have to give up the gold. And now you've got this choice you have to make. And it was the right choice. You've got the one of one, the Select Tyreek, which is amazing. And now you're thinking, which is such a natural thing to think, should I have given up the gold one? What a great pairing it would have been. It's like nothing is ever right with Tyreek, except that you've got this card. So right. when it came, and after you had worked with Mark from Fund Your Cards, and it arrives, and you get the Tyreek in hand, the black Select Tyreek, what did it feel like? What did it look like when you opened it up and there it was waiting for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited. I was following the tracking closely, so I knew when it was going to show up. I was excited to have it in hand, and it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful card, and it's the only one. And I feel very fortunate to be able to own it. But yeah, it did leave a little bit of emptiness, because that gold is so shiny, right? That's hard to beat.
The answer to this might just be no. Do you think that you would have appreciated this card less if you had just found the 16 right away? If you had just found the 2016 Select right away and gotten it, if you would have felt as happy to get it as you did, having gone through all the other Tyreeks?
I feel like I appreciate it way more, because of the journey, because of the process, and because of some of the lumps and the learning that come with it. Yeah, if you're just able to go on to eBay and buy whatever your heart desires, that leaves some emptiness. And I went through a little bit of that when I really got back into collecting. Like, I remember buying a Shaq Beam Team and an '89 Griffey Upper Deck and all the stuff that I always wanted as a kid. But if you can just go buy it, it's too easy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going back to the originals, to the Mosaic, and then to the Immaculate, whatever it was. And I'm thinking, like, when you got those in hand, what was it like? Was it because what's going in my head here, I have so many analogies running through my head, but the analogy going through my head the most is, like, you go into this restaurant and you're so excited for this meal, and it looks great on paper. And it's like some fancy steak, great seasoning, like sauteed mushrooms and something else on top. And it comes and it's like, it's overcooked.
Yeah.
Right? And you had all this anticipation, and now you just have to sit there and eat it because you paid for it. All right. What was it like when you got the ones? How did you know those were not your cards?
Well, I'll stay with the Genesis. That's a cool card. It's a pretty neat looking card. It was pleasing, but it just wasn't. It's just too easy. I looked it up a little bit before the show. I think the pop count was for graded cards was like in the 60s or 70s for that year Genesis, and that's should be a case hit should be maybe a little harder to get, but it just I wanted something. I wanted a bigger Tyreek card because I really feel Tyreek is important to my collection. I wanted something a little bit harder to get to anchor it. I hadn't purchased a ton of Immaculate, and I think they can be beautiful cards, but it doesn't fit really closely with kind of what the rest of my PC looks like. And just understanding honors a little bit more. It just didn't hit. It wasn't it, and I don't know how to go any deeper on that. But sometimes you can just tell, right?
Yeah, well, it's just like trying on clothes or trying on a pair of shoes. You were just trying on your Tyreeks,
Trying on
right? Until you found the right one. So, as we wrap up here, what would you say to someone, one of your collector friends who, was really wanted a card of someone and was kind of going through the same thing where they bought it, no, and they were kind of discouraged? Would you say, like, keep at it, or would you say, hey, maybe this just isn't the player for you?
Yeah, I would say the answer to that, like everything else, is it depends, right? How persistent are you? Is this person, or is this card, or is this set really something that you think is going to be a significant part of your PC? For Tyreek, it was for me, but I'd say don't get discouraged. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be painful. We're supposed to learn, and if it was easy, I don't think I would enjoy it as much as I do right now. I paid a pretty significant restocking fee on trying on all those Tyreeks.
Chad, thank you. Really good story. Congrats on getting the Black Select Tyreek. I'm glad that it had a happy ending. Chad, Black Hat Cards on Instagram. Take care.
Thanks, Dave.